Hello everyone. I've decided to start making YouTube videos because I feel that there's a stigma around OpenSUSE and it's not talked about enough. That stigma is that it's mostly for admins, sysadmins, advanced intermediate users, but it's frankly not true. It's very beginner friendly. It's just that it's not spoken about as much outside of OpenSUSE communities. So if you're not already inside the community, you don't hear all that information. So I want to relieve some of that false difficulty to it. And I'm going to be doing that through a series of YouTube videos. This one today is going to be how to install Codecs on OpenSUSE Tumbleweed. It's not nearly as difficult as people think it is, and it's really just 2 commands. I'll show you how to do it. So for a variety of reasons, OpenSUSE can't ship with the codecs by default. A lot of the codecs are copywritten, and due to legal reasons, they just don't ship it. So there's this wonderful tool that's called OPI. And then OPI has a GitHub, as most software does, and it stands for OBS Package Installer, as you can see here. OBS isn't the typical OBS, but it's actually Open Build Service, and that's a service that OpenSUSE provides that it'll automatically compile software for you. So think of it as a PPA in Ubuntu world, or a portion of RPM Fusion and Fedora world. It's just another place that you can get software. And this OPI program makes it much easier to install software. So their GitHub is here if you want to reference it, but I'll be going through it with you to show you how to use it. So we have a brand new install here of OpenSUSE Tumbleweed. Plasma edition. And we're going to go in here and we're going to do a sudo zipper refresh. We want to make sure that our repos are refreshed and up to date. Then we're going to type in our password. Then we're going to wait for it to update. And then if you'll see here, repository Pacman is up to date, and that's because I was checking OPI to make sure that there's no issues. So sometimes with OBS, when the software is updating or changing, you'll see some issues or conflicts. Normally, if you do see that, you just give it a couple of days, try it again, everything will be resolved. But what you would do is that this Pacman repository wouldn't be here, and you would type in sudo zipper in for install OPI. OPI is already installed. However, let me remove it quick. Oh, if I can spell. So that way you can see what it'll look like when you install it. Not very complicated program. It's fairly simple, but sudo zipper in OPI. Right, do we want to download these packages? Yes, we do. There we go, packages installed. Then we're going to clear the terminal, and we're going to do OPI Codecs. However, if you didn't know what that was, you can either, what the commands were, you can either go to the GitHub page here, and at the bottom it'll tell you the information about it, or just like any console app, you can OPI -s help, and here's all the information. It'll tell you where it can install from, different things that you can do, and then these are things that are, think of them as shortcuts. So instead of going through and saying install Pacman repository, and then selecting all of the programs that I want within Pacman. This just does it all for you. And the dogs are behind me, so I'm sorry if you heard that. But we're going to go back here, and you don't have to do sudo. If you do need to type in your root password, it'll prompt you for that. So you just OPI, here, let's clear it again, OPI Codecs. Do you want to install Codecs from Pacman repository? Yes, I do. So now it's double checking the repositories. It will check Pacman. And as you can see, here's all of our software. Something to note, because I already have the Pacman repository enabled, I didn't get the prompt, but it will ask you if you want to allow the Pacman repository, and if you want to trust it, temporarily trust it, always trust it, or abort. So mine is trusted. I do want to install all of these things, so I'm going to hit yes. And here comes all of the codecs that I need. I haven't found a single codec that this doesn't take care of. However, if you do find that niche codec that you need, I'm sure it's on OBS. I'll be producing another video that talks about OBS and how to search through it. A few more packages. Let's install those as well. A few more. And like I said, it's very simple to go through. If you do end up getting any kind of issues with packages, if you're not familiar with Zipper, it will ask you how you want to resolve package issues. So it can be a little complicated, and again, I will produce a video on this, but you can actually switch from Zipper to DNF, and DNF does resolve those issues by itself. It can get a little overwhelming, especially to newer users, going through Zipper and trying to resolve all of those issues. And then, like I said, if you want to install anything else through OPI and you don't remember what you can, OPI help. Then you see all of those things. Let's say, though, that I wanted to install something through OPI, something that I couldn't find in the normal database. Let's see if it'll do it with VS Code. So I didn't know what it was, and so what else? The other things I can do is OPI install VS Code. Oh, I'm sorry. You don't put in the install portion. You just type in what you're looking for. But VS Code isn't going to be a good example because it's going to give us the shortcut. So let's try OPI hdot. And it's going to give you a list of all of the programs that it finds that matches those. You can pick the number that you want. So I want number 1. And then it's going to ask you where you want that package from. So OpenSUSE Factory, this gets into something else, but that's basically Tumbleweed development branch. So that's before they take a snapshot and push it out to development. These red ones here are through OBS. And then these blue ones here, I believe, are the main repositories. So after it's out of factory and it goes to the snapshot, that's what these are. But say I want to live on the edge, be a little wild, I want it from factory. So 1. Do you want to install it? Yes, I do. And as you can see, hdot works great. There's one other thing I wanted to cover in this video with OPI, and that's if you want to install DNF. I'll cover this again in the DNF video, But in case you do already have DNF installed and you're curious if this will work, all you have to do is edit a file. And I believe it's, let's see, we're going to use nano, sudo nano. We're going to do home, config. Here, let's navigate there first before we start getting crazy. So, let's see what's in our config. Then we're going to go to OPI. And then, yep, JSON. So we're going to go back to home. And from home, we're going to do sudo nano .config OPI config.json. And right in here, backend zip. So zip is short for zipper, and in a lot of different packages and places, it'll call it zip versus zipper. Just be aware of that. But you would just come in here, you would type in DNF, you would save it, and then it would use DNF. But I'm sure if we try to use OPI right now, it's going to run into an issue because I don't have DNF installed yet. Maybe this is cached. Yep, here we go. Sudo DNF command not found. So this information either must be before it tries to install it and use the backend, or it was already cached. That concludes this video though. If you do have any questions, leave a comment. I will try to touch base on every beginner level and maybe intermediate thing that I can think of with OpenSUSE, including YAST, how to install DNF, how to install games and Lutris on here. But like I said, if you do have any questions, just leave a comment. Thank you.